Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. So today we are doing a viewer request, which is a recipe for sloppy joes. So to get started with, I put about a tablespoon of butter in my skillet here and a medium onion. My onion is just at the right point now. It's nice and starting to get translucent, but not all the way there. So at this point, I am going to put in a pound of ground turkey. Now the reason that I use ground turkey for this, if I can get it to cooperate and come out of the package, the reason I like to use ground turkey for this is because it's just a little bit healthier than the ground beef would be. So you can absolutely use ground beef in this. It will work just as well. But I find that with the sauce on top of it, you can't really tell the difference, so you might as well have the extra health benefits from the turkey. Now you want to make sure when you have your onions in here that you do put your butter in there, because the turkey doesn't have a lot of fat. The ground beef does have a lot of fat, so that fat is going to render out as it's cooked, and it's kind of going to make its own moisture in the bottom of the pan. The turkey doesn't really have that, so you want to stand by and just make sure that you're moving it around and it has enough fat content in the bottom there to not be sticking. So we are going to cook up this turkey until it is at a good doneness, and then we'll start adding in our other ingredients. So I'll have you guys come back in just a minute. All right guys, welcome back. So my turkey is nice and cooked up now. It really didn't take very long, maybe 2 minutes. So if you're using ground beef, what you want to do at this point is drain off some of the fat, because you don't want all of that fat in there. Since this is turkey and it doesn't have a lot of fat, I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my tomato paste now. So the tomato paste, you need some kind of tomato base for this. You can either choose to use tomato paste like I'm doing, or you can use a can of crushed tomatoes. The benefit to the crushed tomatoes is that you don't have to really reconstitute it, which I am going to have to do with this tomato paste, kind of reconstitute it a little bit. Now I actually prefer it with the tomato paste because I like to make sure that my sauce to meat ratio is just the way I want it. So it gives me a little bit more control over making sure that the sauce is not too thin. But if you want just a little bit less work for yourself, you can go with the crushed tomato. I am going to use the entire can of tomato paste, which is just a 6-ounce can. And we're just going to stir that into the turkey meat. And then we're going to start reconstituting it with a little bit of chicken broth, since this is turkey. Now, if you were using ground beef, I would recommend just using water. Even if you just have water at home and you are using the turkey, it's perfectly fine to use the water. I just always have chicken broth in my fridge, so since it's the turkey, there's no harm in having that extra little flavor in there. And now what I'm going to add in is some green pepper. Probably about half of a green bell pepper is what I'm going to end up using here. I like the flavor that it gives it and the texture, because it helps the green pepper and the onion help it to not be all just one texture in there from the meat, so it gives you a little bit of a bite, which I really like. If you do not like green pepper, you can still get that same effect by taking a couple ribs of celery and cutting them up real fine and putting them in here. It would still give you that same textural difference without having the green pepper. And now at this point, I'm getting a pretty good little sauce base here. It's not quite as saucy as we want it. We are going to add some more liquid. But what we're gonna do now is start working on the seasoning. But before we put any seasoning in, we wanna give it a taste first because that tomato paste has some salt in it. So we wanna make sure we're not over seasoning anything. So grab a spoon. I know, babe. He doesn't like it when the oven gets dirty, and with me the oven always gets dirty. Or the stovetop.
If it doesn't get dirty, you're not using it.
Right. Alright, so we're very much lacking in seasonings, but that's okay, we're gonna fix it. So we need some onion powder. Basically whoa, that was a lot of onion powder. Okay. Basically my normal, I probably would have ended up using about that much anyway. My normal 4 seasonings, which is salt, pepper, and garlic powder and onion powder. We're gonna put all of those in there. Whoa. Okay. Make sure that you're consistently stirring this. Like you can let it sit for a minute or so, but don't like walk away from it because since we're adding the liquid in little by little, you want to make sure that it's not burning or scorching or anything like that. And we're gonna give it another taste now and see what else we're gonna add. Okay, so now we're gonna add a little bit of celery seed. You don't have to add this. This is optional.
Celery.
But I like the flavor from it. And I am also gonna step away for just a second while I grab our next ingredient. It's almost like I'm not recording if I haven't forgotten something. Every time I'm like, okay, do I have everything I need? Yes. And then I promptly forget something. Brown sugar. It's kind of an important part of sloppy joes because you want that sweetness. I just put a 1/4 cup in there. I'll taste it to make sure I don't need more. Don't like to add a whole lot of sweetness to my savory dishes, but just enough to give you that nostalgic sweetness from the sloppy joe and enough to kind of take the edge off that tomato because the tomato can be a little bit in your face. I'm gonna taste it again.
No.
Okay. The brown sugar already worked its magic. It's great in there. We're gonna add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce now. Just a couple plugs. Give us that little something extra. And then we're gonna taste it again. This is always how I make my sauces. I try to present a more normal front to you and tell you like what the ingredients are and everything, but really I just kind of work by taste it, what does it need, taste it, what does it need, until it's just right. That's pretty good. I'm gonna add just a bit of balsamic vinegar. This is just gonna give us another layer in there, another element. And it's gonna darken it up just a little bit as well. The sauce to meat ratio is looking really, really good here. I would say I probably used a 1/2 cup to maybe 2 cups, but I kind of doubt it was a full 2 cups of liquid. I think that's pretty good. Let's give a taste test to the husband. Be careful, it's hot.
Oh! Mmm. That's delicious.
Okay. All right, now I am just gonna let this cook for a couple more minutes just to give the green pepper a little bit more time to get a little bit more cooked so it's not quite as crisp. You don't want it like eating a fresh vegetable crisp. You want it to be cooked. So this is pretty much it though. So you can see it's really quick and easy. It doesn't take much more effort than just opening a can, and it's so delicious. It's so much better than getting sloppy joe mix from the can. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please leave me a comment. And if you have anything that you would like to see me make, leave me a comment as well, because as I said, this was a viewer request.